Hello, my name is Keith Thompson. I'm president of Asheville Civitan Club this year. I'd like to invite each and every one of you to join us for the upcoming television series, Spirit of Civitan TV. It's going to be on URTV, and we're going to be covering some of the important issues affecting our community. We're going to be meeting some of the civic leaders who are making a difference every day in the lives of our community, and making things better for our children and grandchildren, making this a better place in which to live. So we hope you will be able to join us and watch our series as it comes forward. Thank you.
There are two buttons. Oh, you got it. Go ahead. Go ahead. Are we on? Okay. I want you to realize I have 2 meetings left. I started out my tenure here by talking on a microphone that was turned off. You had to come show me how to turn it on. I'm at the end of my tenure here. I still haven't learned to turn the microphone on, so that ought to tell you all something real quick here. We have some visitors and guests today. We're glad you're here. And as we get started, Norma? David, I saw David. I'm going to start with the invocation. Yes. Norma Messer will bring our invocation.
Thank you. May we pray? Dear God, thank you for the Civitan members all over the world who reach out in service to others and are builders of good citizenship. Now bless this food and the people who prepared it. We thank you for the bountiful blessings we enjoy. Amen.
Thank you, Norma. If we can stand, David Ayton. David, where are you? Oh, there you are, David. Will lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you, David. Now, on your program, it says that I'm going to introduce guests. So, good luck, Larry. We're going to go through our guest table and our head table with introduction if we can. Introducing our guests today, I would like to introduce at our guest table first. You can't hear me. I know I've got to stand up to the thing. Hey, I just learned how to turn it on. What do you mean you can't hear me? Okay, now, one thing you've got to realize, too, now, there's people in the audience who are heckling that never used to heckle because we've got these hearing aids. It's one of the things that Civitan did this year, these hearing devices, which are wired in and it comes directly to them. So if I step away from the microphone and my voice gets weak or something like that, what? Okay. See? They'll catch me on that. All right. Coming to our guest table, Joni Brown. Marilyn Fisher. Martha Neese. David Setzer. Ann Setzer. Fred Muse. Pam Reed. And Roger Hill. Roger Hill and David had to slip John an extra ticket or something. Oh, and so did Bill. David, Fred, and Roger had to slip John an extra ticket or buy an extra ticket, I think. That's why they got to sit at the table with all the ladies. I don't know. There may be something to that or not. Okay, at our head table, there's some people there that you are going to meet during the program. As the program goes on, you will meet some people and not others. Mike Neese is here. Mike is our Lieutenant Governor for Western North Carolina District West. And Bob Gray, where's Bob seated? Bob Gray, our Director for our area. And Joe Parker, District Area Director. There's Joe. Thank you. And I think the rest of the people will be introduced as the program goes on. And you follow your program because you can't tell the players without an agenda. I've got a few. You got your handout this week, everybody. I think you did. We're keeping track of those, and we're going to make it. I've got several things. I would like some of our members to be able to stand. When I call your contribution to our Civitan Club, if you could please stand up, I would appreciate it. One of the things our Civitan Club does is we have Good Citizenship Award. We have 2 people from each of our 7 high schools in our district. So we have 14 people that get Civitan Awards. I think you saw some of those before the program started because we had the video on there. We honor students, parents, teachers, and counselors at a luncheon here, so they all come join our club, or join our membership. You can see the results. You saw them as you came in, the results of our URTV video taping. We tape programs. We're taping this one today. We tape various programs. We play them back on Channel 20. They're played throughout the year. Different weeks have different programs that we have on them. Sometimes we have programs that we replay because we think they're programs that are worth repeating, and other weeks are brand new programs that we have just taped. We also have John Reed, you need to be standing. Because as I mentioned these programs, those of you that had something to do with Good Citizenship Awards, and I know I saw Larry. Where are you, Larry? There's Larry. Please, as I introduce the programs where you're involved in the program, if you could please stand. Mountain Musings, the big person on that is Keith Thompson. There's Keith right there who does that for us, works with that. We are very involved with all kinds of special students. Roger writes the material for us too, so he keeps us in track. We also have a lot of special education programs. We have been working with Irene Wortham, Child Care Day. Stand up if you will, so we can recognize you. Just stand up with these programs. Come. We work with Special Olympics. We also work with PEP, the special program at Robertson High School. We give awards to special kids there for things they have done in the special ed classes. It is a real experience to be there and help give awards to those kids. They don't get awarded for anything, these poor kids, and they're awarded for going up a level in reading or finishing a homework assignment or being able to sit through a class without doing whatever they do. And Larry handles that for us too. We have a foundation that we raise dollars for. People that are involved in a foundation, if you'd stand up, I'm sure there's foundation members, board members here. And I know there's a number of foundation board members in the room. I've seen you. Don't hide. Don't be afraid to stand up. We interview students from all the 7 high schools. We have 2 kids from each high school. We gave out $21,000 in awards, scholarship awards last year. We also award various citizens in our community for being part of our community that meet our standards. We have a number of our Civitans that work with Meals on Wheels, delivering meals every week to needy people. So if you work with Meals on Wheels, if you could please stand. Larry, you sat down. I don't know why you did that, but we want you to stay standing a minute. Got to stand up because most of our members will be standing up by the time I finish this. We help start other Civitan clubs. We've started many in our area. We have members from some of those clubs here today, and we also have had a club we ran at a high school for Civitans. We run a Metaven program. We sell Ingalls cards as fundraisers. Frank is real important with that. He's standing up with the camera here. We also have sold wipes, car wipes, to help with Irene Wortham program. We sold Paula Dean spices last year, and I don't know where that stands right now. And Bob, you handled that for us. We have a candy box that we use, so we've done that program. Don, if you'll stand up, make sure you stand up for that. We help with Election Central on voting day for our high school students and students in our community that vote on Election Day. We help calculate tab the votes. And the last thing I'm going to mention is we have weekly meetings. And we have meals at our weekly meetings. So all of the Civitans here in the club that attend our weekly meetings, it better be every one of you standing up right now. So come on, Civitans, stand up here a minute, because you're on all these programs, all these boards, and you do all this stuff as part of the Asheville Civitan Club. Thank you. I have never figured out when people are introduced and asked to please stand up, they stand up, look around the room, and a minute later they're sitting down again. It just works like that. I guess they have bad knees like I do, and you just can't stand up for too long. But we have a great Civitan Club that does many civic things. We are very involved in our community and all, and we are very proud of the things we do and the people we help. So thank you, Civitans. This is a time in our program which is very special to a lot of people. It's called our 50-50 drawing. As you noticed when you came in, there was a glass. It looks just like that. Glass thing there, we get raffle tickets and put in. We have a drawing, and I don't know who's going to draw this time, but I guess it's going to be Mike. Our special guest today will draw our winning ticket. Now, Mike, you realize in this room as you look around, you're going to draw one out. Right. So the rest of these people are not going to be very happy with you, but that's okay.
But I'll make one very good friend, right?
Yes, he'll have one friend. You've got two, Joe. You got two from Liggett's house.
Oh, very good. There's the winner.
Okay, that's my number. Pick another one. We worked hard on getting that routine done. He had that up his sleeve, and he pulled it out. The winning number is 097234. Where is it? Where is it? Who's got it? Who has it? Come on up and get your change. $12. He knows where it is. He can come up and get it. Okay, without further ado, I will mention to you that our program today is the installation of officers, and we are going to have a program presented to us by our international president. I had the opportunity of spending last evening with him, chatting with him. He is an avid football fan. I don't know what he thought about seeing all my North Carolina things around the house, but he loves Alabama. So, that was a wonderful evening. We had a good time meeting him, and his travels have been extensive, not only in this country, but around the world. And he's been to places that I don't even particularly know where they're at specifically, starting clubs around the world. It's been a wonderful experience that he's had being the president of our International Civitan Club, which we are a part of. So without further ado, moving along our program, I will turn the program over to Tracy McFarland. And what we have started to do is go through our various committees that we have in our Civitan Club every month with a report on what that committee is doing. So Tracy will bring a word or two.
Let's have Tracy do that right where he is.
Okay. Tracy's going to do that where he is. He doesn't have to turn his microphone on that way. He doesn't have the problems I do.
He can't hear me.
He better be able to hear you if he doesn't have one of those hearing devices.
Do what you like. Okay.
That's fine.
Get this microphone adjusted. As president of the Asheville Civitan Foundation, it is with pleasure that I present this annual report for the fiscal year of October 1, 2007 through September 30th, 2008. The foundation has a special fund that is administered by the Community Foundation of North Carolina. The fund allows the foundation to withdraw monies for distribution for charitable activities. At the moment, the fund's net assets are approximately $300,000. This year, distribution was to 7 Buncombe County top high school students. Each student received a $300 college scholarship. This program has been ongoing for 28 years. A few months ago, we established a program for the procurement of a wireless sound system to help those Civitan members with hearing loss to participate in the weekly meetings. At the last meeting, 5 members used the system with results so positive that words from the speakers were clearly received and clearly understood. Funds for the purchase of the system were made available through the contributions from the members. And I think today, all 5 of those members who have the hearing aids have one today. Finally, special thanks to Dennis Michael for his time and devotion to the finances of the foundation. Thank you.
Thank you, Dennis. I feel I had a lot to do with that establishment of those hearing devices. because I'd stand up here and forget to turn the microphone on or something, and nobody could hear, so everybody thought they were having a hearing loss. So when we got ready to establish those hearing devices, a lot of people thought they ought to contribute to the fund. I don't know whether that's the truth or not, but it sort of seemed good to me. I will turn the program now over, since we are down to, where are we, John?
Well, why don't the officers stand out in front of the podium and Michael Brown will do the installation.
Okay. We need the officers in front of.
Yes, the officers that will be installed with Frank and Judd Parker or Porter. Please come forward.
Well, let me just say that I'm delighted to be here at the Asheville Civitan Club. You know, this is one of what we consider to be a legacy club in Civitan International. You know, you were chartered in 1921, so there aren't many clubs that have been in existence longer than the Asheville Civitan Club. And I was very impressed to hear President Larry describe the activities, the projects that you have undertaken and supported this Civitan year. But I think it's really significant that it's not just 1 year of service that this club represents, but you've had 87 years of comparable service to this community, and that's admirable. And certainly the leaders of the club set the example for the membership to follow. And it's my great pleasure to install your leaders for the coming year. Your president next year will be John Reed, Judd Porter, the president-elect. Frank Holby is the club treasurer. Frank, treasurer for life, is that right, Frank? They're going to make him keep doing it until he gets it right. And immediate past president Larry Liggett. Let me just reflect a bit on the respective responsibilities that you are undertaking as the officers of the Asheville Civitan Club. John, as the president, you are in effect the CEO of the Asheville Civitan Club. The members will look to you for example, for guidance, for inspiration, and leadership. And, you know, it's been said that many organizations succeed because of their leaders. Very few succeed in spite of their leaders. So it's a very significant responsibility that you are undertaking, and I congratulate you for your willingness to serve the club in a very special way during the coming year. Judd, as president-elect, your primary responsibility during the coming year will be to prepare to succeed John as club president 1 year from now. But in the meantime, you are an important member of the club's administration during the coming year. And one of the strengths of Civitan, I think, is our tradition of continuity, of purpose, and of mission. And even though the names and the faces may change every year or so, it's that commitment, that bond of service that endures from year to year, and the close cooperation of the president and the president-elect are essential to making that happen. Frank, you already know from your previous experience how important the responsibilities of the club treasurer are in working with the members as they raise funds, as they pay their own personal dues obligations, and in handling the necessary disbursements of club funds. And I congratulate you on your willingness to continue serving in this capacity with the Asheville Civitan Club. And Larry, as immediate past president, President John and President-elect Judd will look to you for your experience, your guidance. The experience you've had this past year will be very valuable to the leaders of the club in the coming year. So the three of you working together as president, president-elect, and immediate past president, you know, represent that continuity of leadership for 3 consecutive years. And I know you will be very important members of the club leadership this year. Together with the board of directors, you constitute the governing body of the Asheville Civitan Club. And of course, as as directors, your primary responsibilities are planning and policy making to assure that our Civitan mission of service to community and help for people with developmental disabilities is implemented during the coming year. Well, gentlemen, if you are willing to accept the responsibilities of your respective offices as I've described them to you, please repeat after me the pledge of Civitan. My pledge to practice the Golden Rule and to build upon it a better and nobler citizenship. Well, now I would like to present to you your lapel pins as a public symbol of the commitment that you have just made to serve this club. And Larry, your past president's pin. Well, now, let's give a big hand to the newly installed officers of the Asheville Civitan Club. You can be seated now. Thank you. Picture? Okay. Our play girl.
I just told Mike that picture is going to be sent into Playgirl. He really thinks it's going into National Geographics. John, at this point on the agenda, on the program, where are we? Bill?
And I'd like to, we'd like to introduce our chief officer, and doing that today will be Michael Brown.
Bill
I'm
Fisher.
sorry, Bill Fisher. Sorry, Bill. Michael Brown's going to introduce Michael Brown.
Now, Bill, you stand up to this thing and almost swallow it when you talk into it. It's on now. It's going to work. Go to it.
It is a pleasure to be here in Asheville today. I got two quick things before I introduce our international president. As you know, our district does the Civisaurus, where we put the drug awareness and alcohol coloring books in the schools. To offset the freight on it, we have a raffle. We sell 300 tickets, $100 a ticket, and the grand prize that you can win, $7,500. I have two of those tickets with me today if you would like one. And also, if you have brought in a new member this year and you do not have a governor's pin, please see me right after this meeting and I will see that you get one. Our president, Mike Brown, joined Civitan in 1971 and was distinguished president of two clubs in Albuquerque, New Mexico. He was also distinguished governor of the Great Southwest District and represented the Western U.S. on the Civitan International Board of Directors, serving as senior director in his second year. He is currently a member of the Birmingham Civitan Club and was distinguished president in 2000-2001. After a career in hospital administration, he became the first administrator of the Civitan International Research Center at the University of Alabama at Birmingham in 1990. Mike retired in 2006. In Civitan, Mike is a master club builder and has helped organize 13 new Civitan clubs, including the first club in Romania. He holds honor keys from 2 clubs and 2 districts and was awarded the Civitan International Honor Key in 1985. He is also a Research Center Fellow, a Shropshire Fellow, Freedom Fellow, and a Junior Fellow in the Civitan Foundation. He was named an honorary citizen of Canada by the Canadian Civitans. His travel has taken him to every Civitan district in North America, Europe, and Asia. Mike has a BA and MA degree in philosophy from Aquinas Institute in St. Louis and an MBA from the University of New Mexico. His wife, Joni, is also an active Civitan member, or his son, Lauren, daughter-in-law, Lindsay, brother Dan, and sister Peggy. He and Joni have 2 grandchildren, Jacob and Samantha. At this time, will you please rise for our international president, Mike Brown.
Thank you very much, Governor Bill. You know, serving as president of Civitan International is a kind of almost an undescribable experience, but I think the most rewarding aspect is the opportunity to travel throughout the Civitan world and meet Civitan members in all of the various nations where we have Civitan clubs, learning how they implement the Civitan mission in their own ways. And what I'd like to do is just tell you a little bit about Civitan around the world today. Last fall, our first trip outside the United States was to Ontario in Canada. And one of the communities we visited there was Dundas, Ontario. And the Civitan Club of Dundas several years ago started the Civitan Learning Center. And this is a facility for young adults who have developmental disorders to have an opportunity to learn new skills and to socialize with each other. It came as a result of 2 of the club members who had children with developmental disabilities, and they were dissatisfied with the opportunities for their own offspring to receive the services that they needed. So together, they acquired a house, they renovated the house, they hired professional staff, and they have been supporting the Civitan Learning Center now for more than 15 years. Our first trip outside of North America occurred late in April when we flew to Budapest in Hungary and attended the Hungary Civitan District meeting. The first event was a social hour at the Civitan Garden in Budapest. And the Civitan Garden is a large greenhouse and nursery, and the people who operate it are adults with developmental disorders. The director of the Civitan Garden is Katalin Nagy, who is also governor of the Hungary Civitan District. And they work with many adults who have developmental disabilities to help them learn skills and to earn a living to help support themselves. While we were there for the district meeting, at the conclusion we chartered a new club in Budapest called the Passeretti Civitan Riding Club. And the members of this new Civitan club all belong to a riding academy. And their principal project is teaching young people with developmental disabilities to ride horses. And it's a tremendous project because, you know, the child with a disability, once he or she is on the horse, the disability is meaningless. It really no longer exists because they're just like everyone else at that point. It's a great project, and I was so pleased to meet the enthusiastic members of this new Hungarian Civitan Club. Well, after being in Hungary for a few days, we flew up to Säby, Denmark, for the biennial Civitan European Spring Congress, and there were more than 200 Civitans there for that event, and they came from 6 different countries, including Peter from the Bryansk Civitan Club in Russia. Now, Peter brought with him a PowerPoint slide presentation to show us what they were doing in their community to help people, children and adults with developmental disorders. Very impressive programs that they support in Bryansk. There were also Civitans there from Denmark, from Norway, from Germany, as well as Hungary and Romania. And it was so exciting to see what's happening there. You know, if you look at the map of Denmark, Säby is up near the tip. The tip of Denmark at the northern part of the country, on one side is the North Sea, and on the other side is the Kattegat Sea. Säby is near the tip, and at the very tip of Denmark is a city called Skagen. And Skagen is the site of the newest Civitan Club in Denmark, the D2 Hava Civitan Club. And we met the members of that new club that chartered last fall and heard about the great programs that they are doing in their community, the fundraising projects that they have, and the hands-on service that they provide to help people with developmental disorders. Well, 4 days after we returned home from Denmark, we flew to Seoul, Korea. And you might be interested to know that Korea, South Korea, is the second largest Civitan country. There are more Civitans in South Korea than in any other country in the world except for the United States. There are more than 2,200 Civitan members. And while we were in Seoul, we attended the annual Children's Festival sponsored by the Korean Civitans for students who have developmental disabilities. These are principally high school students, and their special education teachers. They had a very elaborate program of entertainment on the banks of the Han River that goes through the heart of Seoul, and recognized the Special Education Teacher of the Year. And it was really great meeting all the students who were there. There were about 150 students and probably 30 or 40 special ed teachers with them. And after the entertainment and the program, we all filed onto a large riverboat. And then for the next hour and a half or so, we enjoyed lunch and sailed up and down the Han River. And what a tremendous experience that was. And the Korean Civitans just chartered a new club before we had arrived in Seoul. And last week, they chartered 2 more new Civitan clubs. So they are really growing in Korea. They are responding to our mission of serving the community and helping people. Well, a little bit, of course, after we got home or after we left Seoul, we flew to Hiroshima in Japan, and were welcomed by the members of the Hiroshima Civitan Club and enjoyed having dinner with them that evening. And they told us about their largest project, which is contributing human hair wigs to women who lose their hair as a result of cancer therapy. We also had an opportunity while we were in Hiroshima to visit the Peace Memorial Park, which was developed on the site of the detonation of the atomic bomb in August of 1945. And one of the members of the Hiroshima Civitan Club, Kei Matsushita, was 16 years old in 1945 when that horrendous event happened. And Kei has written a very detailed personal reflection
on his experience as a young student, about how that event affected his family, how it affected some of his classmates who died as a result of that horrendous event, and also how it affected his country. And something that impressed me is that there is not bitterness and resentment toward Americans as a result of that. Kay explained that the people of Japan feel that they were misled by their own government and military leaders into a war that was not justifiable. So they felt betrayed by their own leaders, in effect. But they welcomed us very graciously, and it was really great getting to know them and to experience that beautiful Peace Memorial Park. Some of you may have seen it. There are several memorials throughout the park. I think the most moving was the Children's Memorial, dedicated to the some 20,000 children who died as a result of that event. And it's customary in Japanese Buddhist culture to make origami figures, particularly paper cranes, multicolored paper cranes. And their belief is that if someone makes 1,000 paper cranes and strings them together, that good fortune will result. Well, at the Children's Memorial in Hiroshima, there's a place for school children to come and bring these strings of origami cranes to hang them in this special spot at the memorial. And while we were there, several school children came and hung the cranes that they had made themselves in that memorial spot. Well, we boarded the bullet train in Hiroshima and went to Fuji. And you know that Mount Fuji in the Buddhist tradition is considered to be sacred. And the members of the Fuji Civitan Club took us about a third of the way up the side of Mount Fuji to visit a large developmental center. And there are residential facilities there for adults to live. There are training centers and workshops. And one of the projects that they do to help generate funds to support the center and themselves is to grow mushrooms. And they took us into this thickly wooded area where they had stacks of wood shaped like teepees. They would cut about 4-foot lengths of wood and stack them up and wet them down regularly. And out of the sides of these wood piles grow huge mushrooms with caps that are about 6 to 8 inches in diameter. And the clients harvest the mushrooms, they cut them up and dry them and package them and sell them to raise funds to help support their center. Also, they grow herbs, which they harvest and dry, and they package them into what looks like large tea bags, but these are for aromatherapy. You take one of these bags and put it in your swirling bath water, and it has very therapeutic effects. And we were very impressed with what the Civitans were doing. The director of that center is a member of the Fuji Civitan Club, and we presented him with a club honor key in recognition of his service to Civitan and of his service to people with developmental disabilities. Well, that evening, Mr. Saito, a member of the Fuji Civitan Club, invited us to his home, where he held a reception for about 50 people, the members of the club and some other friends. Now, Japan, is not a very large country geographically. It's very densely developed. So it's very unusual for someone to have a home with a garden large enough to accommodate 50 people or so. But Mr. Saito explained that home had been in his family for more than 350 years. And so it was really great. He had built a brick oven in the backyard, and in the oven he made pizza with baby shrimp on it. It was very tasty. And we had a great time. They provided entertainment, and we enjoyed visiting with all of the Civitans and getting to know them personally. Well, after we finished our visit in Fuji, we got back on the bullet train and at 200 miles an hour went cross country to Tokyo, of course, the largest city in Japan. We were welcomed there by Yoshi Sakagawa, who is our General Secretary for Japan, for Civitan International. Yoshi has been a good friend for many years and gave us a great tour of Tokyo, and everywhere we went, we took the subway. You know, the subways in Tokyo are phenomenal, and you can get just about anywhere you want to go in Tokyo on the subway. We visited the Machida Civitan Club, which is Yoshi's own Civitan club, and heard about the projects that they had to support a developmental center in their community in Tokyo. He also took us on a great tour of the city where we saw the Imperial Palace, the Diet, which is the seat of government for Japan, and the Ginza district, which is analogous to Times Square in New York, and he took us up in Tokyo Tower, a very high structure that was built before the 1964 Olympic Games that were in Tokyo. Well, after being in Tokyo for several years, it seemed like several years sometimes, several days, we left and headed back to the United States, and then got ready for our annual convention in June, which this year, as you may know, was on a cruise ship. We sailed out of the Port of New York and went to the Canadian Maritime provinces of Nova Scotia and New Brunswick. And about 900 Civitans from around the world were there, and it was a great opportunity to renew old acquaintances and to meet many new Civitan friends from several countries. Well, shortly after we returned from our international convention, we went to the Junior Civitan International Convention in Louisville. Back in February, Joni and I had attended Snowdo up in Barrie, Ontario, which is an annual fundraising marathon sponsored by the Junior Civitans each year to support the Civitan International Research Center. And we rode in a snowmobile 40 kilometers through the woods and the mountainous areas, and 50 yards before the finish line, the damn thing tipped over. But it was a great experience being there with those young students, those young Civitans, and seeing their dedication, their enthusiasm for Civitan and for our largest project, the Civitan International Research Center. Well, not long after the junior convention, our Executive Vice President, John Ranierson, and I flew to Taiwan, and while we were there, we chartered the first Civitan club in the Republic of China, and that was a great experience, the Taipei Civitan Club. We also, some of the new Taipei Civitans took us up in Taipei 101, which currently is the tallest building in the world. There is another building under construction now in Dubai, which will be slightly higher when it's completed in another year or so, but currently this is the tallest building in the world, a great perspective over that countryside in Taiwan. Well, the president, the charter president of the Taipei Civitan Club is Dr. Sung Wu Chang. Dr. Chang is a professor of vision science and optics at the university in Taipei and is a specialist. There we go. He has been developing prosthetic devices that, these are replacement limbs that are controlled by brain impulses, just like we control our natural limbs. And he's also taken that technology and taking it one step further to create freestanding robots that are also controlled by brain impulses through a central panel, and gave us a demonstration. He had 3 robots that were about 18 inches tall, and one of his students gave us a demonstration of all 3 of the robots marching in tandem and in sync, and spinning and stomping, and it was just the most amazing sight to see these robots being controlled through this panel by one of his students, who was wearing a baseball cap that was covered with tinfoil. That was sort of an interesting perspective. But Dr. Chang arranged for us to meet the Minister of the Interior for the Republic of China to tell him about our plans for Civitan in that country. And what we're going to do in Taiwan is exactly what Civitans have done in the Philippines the last few years, and that is start a series of developmental centers, early childhood developmental centers, to help children at risk and populations that are needy. And he was very impressed with that. After we left Taiwan, we flew to Manila, to the Philippines. And 7 years ago, there were no Civitans in the Philippines. And while we were there, we chartered the 37th Philippine Civitan Club, the Boso Boso Antipolo Civitan Club, at the site of a multi-purpose developmental center for adults with developmental disabilities in the city of Antipolo, which is about an hour's drive north of Manila. And we met many of the clients who were there and initiated 28 charter members into that new Civitan Club. And then we attended a meeting of the Philippine Civitan District. One lady rode from Davao, which is the southernmost island of the Philippines, all the way up to Manila just to attend this meeting. She was on the bus for 18 hours. Now, somebody who probably knows how many islands there are in the Philippines. Anybody know that? It's over 7,000 at low tide. But, so many of the islands, though, are connected by bridges, so it is possible to ride in a bus from the southern island of Davao up to, all the way up north to Manila. And the Civitan clubs in the Philippines are built around a commitment to these early childhood developmental centers. Dr. Teresita Yambat is really the Mother Superior of Civitan in the Philippines, and she spent some time with us at the Civitan International Research Center a few years ago learning about a program developed by one of our staff members at the center called the Portage Project for children with developmental disorders, for early childhood development. And she took that model and has taken it back to the Philippines and has been developing these early childhood centers throughout the country and organizing Civitan clubs to support them. And they're getting funding from the national government and the local governments in the Philippines to help support them. It's an ideal example of a public-private partnership working together to help people. It's working very well, and that's why we decided to implement the same model in Taiwan, and we plan to expand later this fall into Thailand to begin Civitan clubs in that country. This year altogether, we've welcomed 3 new Civitan clubs into Civitan countries into our family of nations. In addition to Taiwan, earlier in the year, we chartered new clubs in Liberia and in Cote d'Ivoire, the former Ivory Coast in West Africa. And we are getting a much larger presence in West Africa. And the need there is very great. One of the projects that our African Civitan friends are supporting there is one called Stop the Traffic. You may have heard that there's heavy trafficking, particularly in young girls and women that are literally sold into sex slave trades throughout the world, particularly into Western Europe. And the Civitans are working to halt that abuse, and we're working together in partnership in the United States with Fordham University in New York. And while we were in New York, before our cruise convention, we had our board meeting, our international board meeting on the campus of Fordham University. And they provided facilities for us to use for that meeting. Well, it's been a tremendous experience traveling throughout the world, meeting these Civitans. And as we travel throughout the countries, we're very different. We have different cultural backgrounds, we speak different languages, have different beliefs in many cases, but it strikes me that, it's that common bond of that Civitan commitment to helping people, serving our communities, that unites us very strongly. So regardless of our individual backgrounds, we've all been welcomed very enthusiastically as we've traveled throughout the Civitan world, just as we have been here in Asheville, North Carolina. Very grateful to President Larry Liggett and Dixie for opening their home to us. We've enjoyed a very nice visit with them last evening, and it's a great opportunity for Joni and me to be here with you today to install your officers for next year and to meet so many of you. So thank you very much, Asheville Civitans, for inviting us to be here with you today. Let me give one more thing to President Larry. Our theme this year is Champion Civitan, and I'd like to present President Larry with a Champion Civitan patch for your club banner. Larry?
Thank you. Appreciate it. Yes. Thank you very much. Is the microphone on? Yeah, got to swallow it. Get over here. John, your turn. You're next on the program.
Well, you had something you wanted to...
I'll wait till we do the pledge, and I'll do that.
I'll do that. I'll do that afterwards. Didn't you have a thing?
Yeah, okay. Mike? As a very small token of our appreciation, I know this is more for Joni than anything. By the way, Mike's wife is a Civitan, and she was telling us the other night that she has a scrapbook. So this is a little certificate of our appreciation for you being with us in Asheville, September 16th, 2008. And this is a lifetime club membership to Asheville Civitan.
Oh, very good. Thank you so much.
Excuse me, Joni, that was for you. I may choke here. John?
Okay, if we'll all stand for the Civitan Creed. It's on the back of the program that everyone has. I am Civitan, as old as life, as young as the rainbow, as endless as time. My hands do the work of the world and reach out in service to others. My ears hear the cry of children and the call throughout the world for peace, guidance, progress, and unity. My eyes search for others to join in the fellowship and service of Civitan. My mouth utters the call to daily duty and speaks prayers in every tongue. My mind teaches me respect for law and the flag of my country. My heart beats for every friend, bleeds for every injury to humanity, and throbs with joy at every triumph of truth. My soul knows no fear, but it owns always. My hope is for a better world through Civitan. My motto, builders of good citizenship. My belief, do unto others as you would have them do unto you. My pledge, to practice the golden rule and to build upon it a better and nobler citizenship. And Larry?
John, you need anything else?
No, thank
Any
you.
other announcements? Thank you all for attending. We appreciate all our guests here today. And to Civitans, we'll see you next week. Very good. Thank you, Mike.
Thanks so much for inviting us to your meeting. Well, anywhere you'd like.
There's still some room.
Oh yeah, you got room there. See, you've got one from Betty Sue Boland there.
Thank you very much.
Yes.
And I've got that other thing I got. What did I get? Thing today? The little thing to put on there that
Oh yes.
Bob Gray got. Now the microphone's coming on. Oh, good. Microphone is here, so Keith is going to start our program a little early.
Welcome, everyone, to our 2007 Asheville City Council Candidate Forum. This is a very proud tradition of Asheville Civitan Club and our commitment to building good citizenship and having many of the issues be able to receive a good hearing before we make our choices. And for those guests here today, we are all committed to voting, so you have a very good crop of voters and people who will make recommendations to other voters to, so it's a good opportunity to be introduced to both the issues and the candidates.
Well, thank you again for inviting me here today. It feels very much at home. This is actually our home church, and see a number of familiar faces and good from our parish family here at Trinity Church. And one of the reasons why we've loved being here so much is we came right into a family right away, even though we didn't know many people in town at all or anybody other than our daughter Warren Wilson. Trinity's made us feel very much at home, and so we love it very much here.
Welcome to the January 8th meeting of Asheville Civitan Club. And I'd like to start the meeting out in a little different way than normally have, but if everybody could stand, please, I'd like a moment of silence in memory of Charlie Johnson. Okay. Thank you all very much. We will miss Charlie, and I think of all the things I will miss is having Charlie sitting at that piano playing when we came in for lunch. That was wonderful, because haven't been a member that long, but there for a while, that was one of the highlights of our meetings when you came in and Charlie was on the piano. It was wonderful to have him there, and we will miss Charlie. Can we have our invocation?
Yeah, I have some of my own. Okay, well, first of all, we're taping this for URTV. Hopefully we'll get it out there. We have a nice, fast turnaround from here on. We have a lot of programs coming up that will be taped. We're going to have a real exciting March. And I hope we continue to have a great turnout for these programs. Today's program was preceded in Monday's paper by an article about the I-26 overpass. I'd like to introduce to you Ann Ponder.
I'm so pleased to have the opportunity to address this group. And your assignment will be to think of good questions to ask me at the conclusion of my prepared remarks.
I'd like to introduce to you Dr. Betty Young.
Good afternoon. It's my pleasure to be here with you this afternoon and have the chance to share with you a little bit about the great things that are going on at AB Tech. I thought since I am new to town, I just arrived in September, maybe I'd tell you a little bit about my background, although with that great introduction, I don't know what's left to tell.
Hello, my name is Keith Thompson. I'm president of Asheville Civitan Club this year. I'd like to invite each and every one of you to join us for the upcoming television series Spirit of Civitan TV. It's going to be on URTV, and we're going to be covering some of the important issues affecting our community. We're going to be meeting some of the civic leaders who are making a difference every day in the lives of our community, and making things better for our children and grandchildren, making this a better place in which to live. So we hope you will be able to join us and watch our series as it comes forward. Thank you.